I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have a little finance committee meeting. Today's August 6, 2021. Ms. Kayla?
Yes. Okay, if you look at the first page, it's a cash report summary. The closing balances of 630. General fund, you have 9.7 million. Road and bridge, 1.4. Courthouse and jail, 1.8. Health unit, 628,000. Garbage is 3.5. Criminal court, it's negative $1,222. E911, 124,000. Library, 5.6 million. Cameron Fire, 720,000. Creo Fire, 63,000. Granchinier, 245,000. Johnson Bayou is 1 million. Grand Lake Fire, 402,000. Klondike Fire, 24,000. Hackberry Fire is 995,000. Lowry Fire, 261. Gravity Drainage 8 is 386. Tourist Commission is 99,000. Sweet Lake Cemeteries, 122,000. And then you have your disaster fund for Hurricane Laura is a negative 8.6 million. And disaster fund, Hurricane Delta is 185,000.
Negative.
If you flip, you'll have all the detailed of each fund. If you want to look through them, you have any questions, you can ask me.
You got that 8.6 million for Laura, and we only have 9 million. Is that after that 9 million? But if we're gonna have to take that 9 million and pay that 8.6?
Basically, yeah, it all comes out of the same fund.
Not much
So,
left.
you go to the very back, you'll see the hurricane recovery detailed. It's everything we've spent on Hurricane Laura. We are just now starting to slowly get some FEMA reimbursement. Our main thing was the debris pickup, is what really cost us. And I believe Katie said that it was a slow progress. They're waiting on permits, and I think everything's been cleared up. So we should see
What's the expected?
To receive?
Yeah.
90% of that 8.6 million right now.
Okay. No, but what I wanna ask, you got $8.6 million right here. In our account, we have 9. Don't we have to pay for this and then get reimbursed?
we've already paid for that, yes, sir.
So if if whatever we get reimbursed, it'll go on top of our 9 million?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I mean.
On the Johnson White fire, that closing balance, is that after the debt was paid?
No,
So they still owe?
yes, sir.
Right.
So we could actually have 18 million,
Yeah, on the Johnson
once it's
Bay,
all paid back.
on that Johnson Bay, we talked with them.
Are you talking about for the Hurricane Laura? Well, 18 million. I'm not positive what's 90% and what.
No, I'm just
Yes,
not-
18 million. If you look on the Hurricane Laura, we spent what you see in the front, the cash balance, that's just January through June 21. But if you look in the back, the 18.9 million is Hurricane Laura expenses is what we paid out. We did receive insurance money of 8.6 million, so that's helped us, but some of that we do have to dispute to the districts.
Yeah, okay, that's what I had a question about that. So some of the districts have been asking, when will their insurance money be given to them?
Right now, Miss Wendy's working, she's just finishing up, we have like a chart of gets what, but I think it changes like constantly. So once we get a set amount and all the insurance money, we will start.
I know like Cameron Fire and Sewer, they done.
Cameron
whatever-
Fire,
not Cameron Fire, Cameron Water and Sewer and Water. I know they spent whatever they had, a little fund, they had a little slush fund, they might have in their savings. Well, they spent a lot of that, and so they're waiting on to get their insurance money to put that back in their expense, back in the account. So when will we be getting that back to our,
When when we're able to reconcile what the insurance company provided to the money that we received. Right now, the insurance company still has not given us a breakdown of the money. They just gave us a lump sum amount of money. And they give us a estimate per location, but it's not set in stone. And every time we ask for it, they said, well, we'll work on it and we'll send it to you. But the last thing we wanna do is go give a district $5 million, and then when the insurance company releases the final reconciliation, they actually only were supposed to get $3 million, and then we have to go back and ask them for that money back. So we're waiting on that reconciliation to happen.
They were just different ones we're asking about in different entities or whatever.
But if they get in a
But
bind,
we're
they can come to
close.
the jury, you know, if they have to do something.
Right, and that's why a lot of we've been paying for a lot of the disaster recovery stuff that we can't. We've been running it through this disaster fund and letting the insurance money that's there pay for that. And then we're gonna submit it to FEMA too. So they'll get another round of money from their FEMA reimbursements.
Kim's still working on gathering invoices for her insurance
Okay.
as well, just so you know. But I have a meeting next week with the insurance people to finalize that Laura spreadsheet that Katie's talking about.
Yeah. Cause right now, the insurance company can't come and tell us, okay, for sure, no matter, of the $5 million we gave y'all back a year ago, 200,000 of it goes to West Annex, and 300,000 goes to East Annex, and 400,000 goes to this building. They can't tell us that to the penny right now.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Kayla, the 995,000 for Hackberry Fire, now, they're, who do they owe for the new fire station, right? So is that part of the fund that pays for that?
What was that again?
The Hackberry Fire Station? Those funds that they've got, they owe that. They owe some of that for the station, right? The new station?
They owe us.
Who do they owe?
He's asking who they gotta pay and how much for
For
that
the
fire
repairs
station.
that need to be made,
No, the new one.
well, they bonded, it's already been built, that's a tax that's levied. They bonded out the money,
That's right,
Hackberry
that's right,
voters,
that's
yeah.
right, yeah.
But we automatically pay that out of their tax, they have a separate tax for that.
Sure.
And we
Right.
pay it every year for
Yeah.
them. It's a 10-year bond, and they're in like year 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 995,000, that's clear money?
That's their
That's
money.
their money.
Yes.
But that's probably included that tax too, that's in there.
No.
No, it's not,
That's
I'm
a
sorry.
completely
That's
separate
yes,
tax.
you're right.
And after 10 years, it'll close, and they won't have to pay that separate bond money. It's called a sinking fund, that's what it's called, like
Yeah,
a
I-
maintenance fund, and
I
they have their sinking.
forgot that they bonded that.
Yep.
I know they had a state beer tax.
What?
State beer tax.
Was that it?
Ad rule. State beer tax.
Goodness.
Yeah.
And starting October, you'll start having your budget meetings. We'll start talking about next year's budget.
Is that when you want budget requests too? Katie? their budget request, we're gonna let the entities know about their
Yeah,
budget request.
Someone's already emailed me.
Most of them start turning them in August.
I started asking for 'em.
September, we weren't gonna have a budget meeting, because I think we have the board of review meeting
Mhm.
going on.
Mhm.
And then, so we'll have a first draft starting October, second draft November, adopt December.
So look at the health unit, so we are, and I passed there the other day, so Katie, you did say they're in the process of, I know it's all been cleaned up, I think, and,
New roof.
they're gonna fix it back up, and,
Yeah, we own the building, so we're paying to fix it with insurance money and with that tax. And the state still staffs it and they operate. But, the last meeting we had with Dr. Kavanaugh, they're gonna do a few things differently. They're gonna start trying to they're gonna put everything back into that building, but they might not require as large of a space, because we're looking at doing more like satellite offices in each area of the parish. And so that's something they're investigating right now, and if they feel like they can do some roving satellite offices in each community using the little clinics in each community that are already there, then we can close in some of the space and maybe use the rest of it for other office space. They might not need the full health unit.
right.
And after talking with permit department and with them and Ryan King, they like the setup of Ryan King being here in this building next to permitting. It's been a really good working relationship. It makes it easier on the staff, and it makes it easier on the residents that are coming in. So he may just keep his office here.
Okay. Well, being inside one of our buildings, can we look at, eventually elevating?
Yep.
Maybe elevate.
Use a hazard mitigation grant.
To elevate that, that's a nice building. And
Yes, sir.
elevate it, and heck, if we have to, I mean, if we don't use it, some of these companies down here that we could,
Yeah.
lease out office space to some.
Cover insurance.
At least pay the insurance on them. The health unit right here.
Oh.
It's a good building. I mean, I don't know how much, it needs to be elevated.
We can,
How much water got in it,
We can get HGA's contracted, and we can, to do our elevation grants, we could see about getting them to include that building as one of them, see what the cost analysis is, and if it's feasible, and get an estimate together. And see if we can, allocate some hazard mitigation funds to that project.
because I mean, all these buildings here did well, so I mean, if we had it, we wouldn't have to worry about it getting tore up anymore. And if it, like Thomas has said, at least if we could lease it out for office space and pay the insurance on it. Upkeep, one in case we ever need it, you know.
But, you know, for the most part, when I look through this finance report, the big thing is that final column, that total budget remaining. And if you look at your expenditures total, as long as you're somewhere between 40 and 55%, then you're in good shape of staying within your budget. And most of the funds have that. We have something in the general fund that's kind of a $4 million entry for construction in progress, but I think I know what that is. I think that's for some other project that we just need to reclass to the correct, it's a grant. But for the most part, we're operating well within our budget. And the only thing that we have that's gonna bust our budget is gonna be those disaster funds. And that's why Kayla and her staff have kept it separate. That way we can tell normal operations, how are we doing? And then we have all of our recovery operations in one fund. So as we get PWs obligated and money gets deposited, it's gonna cover those entries. And then when we close a PW, whatever that net balance is, that's what we're gonna bill to that entity. Because the insurance money's coming in, expenditures are going out, PW money's coming in, and so if we owe an entity money, we're gonna cut them a check for it. If they owe us money, we'll bill them for it. But for the most part, most of these entities are, especially the fire districts and the library and stuff, they're all just worrying about funding their normal operations. And we're kind of handling everything, the recovery side for them. Now, there are some, those water districts and Hackberry, I know the rec district and Johnson Bayou Rec District, they've been taking care of their own recovery. They've been contracting directly, and so those, that's what Wendy's working on. How much of that insurance money should we release right now? And we wanna keep a certain percentage to cover any adjustments that will happen at the end of reconciliation.
So road royalty, that's, the actual road royalty money right now, that's came in this year, that's it?
Yes, and I just got a like 57,000 check today, so, yeah.
Shoot, I mean, I was a juror years ago, we saw how many millions of dollars.
I know, when I first got hired, I remember it being like $3 million every like quarter, and now it's
Yeah.
20,000 maybe.
Wow.
It's all related directly to that oil and drilling, and as long as they're moving toward electric cars, you can kiss that funding source goodbye.
Mm.
Keep suing them, they ain't coming back for sure. The whole company.
Well, a lot of this has to do with any new drilling, you know, the moratorium on that, you know, it's just,
Yeah, it's killed us,
Yeah, they ain't
offshore
gonna-
stuff.
Yeah, they ain't gonna drill on land either. Well, this come from offshore, the road royalty, right? Or the whole state.
everything, yeah,
Everything,
and
yeah.
it comes from the state. So that's, used to be one of our top 3 revenue sources, and now it's nowhere near the bottom, it's probably the bottom 3. All you can depend on really is your severance tax and your ad valorem tax.
And that took a hit too because of the,
Yeah, your
Your
severance
assessment.
tax, they go after that every year at session too. They're trying to do some stuff with the severance tax, and so that could potentially, in the next few years, they have bills every session trying to prevent us from collecting that, and, so really the only thing 100% within your control is your ad valorem tax. Cause you decide what to levy and not levy. Everything else is gonna be dependent on the state or the federal government. Your occupational licensing, I mean, that's a pretty good revenue source, but it lacks a compliance and enforcement side to it. It's kind of the Scouts honor right now. And so, but in order to do better enforcement and compliance, you're gonna have to allocate staff to do it. And that's something that's collected by the sheriff's office anyways and the tax collector. And I don't think he has the staffing to do that, to actually go out and meet with the businesses, make sure they're paying their right, audit their books, have an auditing section. You know, if you probably could collect more occupational, but then you're gonna pay more out in admin fees.
So you good?
I'm we're good. Yeah.
We good? I'm good. Tom's not good.
When y'all get to the end, I just wanted to address y'all about,
Yes, sir, Mr. Tom.
if y'all are done.
I think so, if you want to talk to us.
You want my chair?
Can I borrow a chair?
Yes, you may.
This wasn't my intention, but y'all brought up the occupational license. I know that, I just signed, I don't know, it might have been a month ago, 6 weeks ago, the sheriff's office asked me to sign some demand letters to collect some of those taxes that hadn't been paid. I guess the sheriff and the tax assessors didn't want to sign a letter demanding money from the public, but I didn't have a problem. So I signed them saying you owe money. So if you get a business owner in the parish that gets one of those letters, it just says you have to pay your occupational license. So anyway, what I wanted to address with you all today is the DA salary. And we, it's been, I've been around for a long time. When we started, when I started back in 2003 or so with Mr. Cecil, the DAs and assistant DAs been paid so much money. Then sometime around 2010 or 11, maybe 10 years ago, y'all bumped it up again, those salaries. Just to give you a little bit of background, the DA and assistant DA salaries come from several sources. The state pays every, and I just want to focus, this is only about the DA, but just giving you a little information. The state pays every district attorney $55,000 a year. So we all get, whether it's New Orleans, Cameron, we all get that amount. Then some DA's offices have a tax base or have they can fund themselves, and DAs can pay themselves. But most of your rural here, Beauregard, places like that, the police jury supplements. So what we do in Cameron, we get the $55,000 from the state. You pay $47,000 towards my salary, and I, through my office, supplement it $24,000. So that's $126,000 a year that you have paid the district attorney in your parish for the last 10 or 12 years, roughly. That's been the salary. This past spring, with the new election of DAs last fall, or we had an election, there were 10 new DAs, but the DAs Association put together a study and a memo that gave some ranges and recommendations for DA salaries. And they have it in 4 tiers based upon your population, how many employees, how many assistants you have, so forth and so on. And because of the size of my office, I fall into the tier 1, which is the smaller office. And the range of salaries recommended were $160,000 to $180,000 for that small type office. And there are other factors to consider that they said, you know, you have some parishes hire their own attorney as opposed to the DA. Some school boards hire their own attorney as opposed to using a Calcasieu Parish has their own attorney. They don't use the DA's office, and the police jury up there as well. As you know, my office does it all, from the Johnson Bayou to Klondike to you guys, and we're happy to do that, and hopefully you are satisfied with that service. And the point that I'll be asking you to consider, obviously not making a decision today, this is just information, is to get me to that $160,000 mark. I'm not going to get any funding from the state. My office is limited. I don't have a tax base. What I generate is through some fees and some things that I'm allowed to charge, so that's limited. So the only other source is to come to you all. And to get me to the $160,000, which again, that's the minimum of the smallest office, I'm not asking for anything more, would be an additional $34,000 a year. So that's what I'll be asking for when the budgets come around, is just to increase my salary to that minimum recommendation based on this study and all the factors. One thing I'll say, I think that you'll find that my office, the cost of the personnel, even including me, is, I have an additional attorney, one more than we historically have had. I have some revenue coming in that I've worked out a deal with the school board, because we've taken on managing their properties that they typically would farm that out and spend more money. So if you look at the net cost of my office personnel staff, I think it's less, or will be less this year than it has historically has been, because I've You know, I think I'm pretty good at managing money and managing personnel, and so, you know, the point is, I'm careful with the public money. I think I'm providing more services, more people, more attorneys, more specialized individuals. You know, Michael Cassidy with the school board, I mean, he's had 30 years' experience. You know, I couldn't get anybody else in the state better than him to come to Cameron Parish. Brian Araby, I compare him to a young Cecil. That's his specialty. And I've got Chelsea, who's going to be a great litigator and prosecutor for us and for you all in helping you. So I think the services that we're providing are, you know, are very good. I hope you're satisfied, and I'll just be asking for that to get me to the minimum. And give you time to think about it and ask questions over the next few weeks and months. So thank you for your time. Any questions? All right.
Sounds good.
Thank
sir.
y'all.
You're gonna turn in a request, for your classification, for your, like the DA's office always turns in on their employees?
They're all set. I mean, they're set in a classification, and so they're all, I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, I think they do
Like a budget request?
no.
The steps,
An evaluation?
Staff evaluations.
Over the
You
steps.
do that?
Well, yeah, I'll do that. Renee Dupree is my office manager, and she'll help with that. But we will, and I won't be asking for anything more for any of the staff other than your increased cost of living. I'm not asking for any, I will not be asking for any increases in salaries for anybody.
This is just for you, Mr. Thomas?
This is just for the DA to get me to the
No, I
minimum.
understand that, but you'll be participating in the other stuff.
Oh, yeah, no, I'll be participating with,
All right.
in the budget process. I just didn't want to come to you the day of your decision. I wanted to give you time to think about it and ask me questions, or, you know,
Make sure it's in the recommendation.
we'll do, oh, yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
I did bill the school board and they paid already.
How about old equipment, stuff like that, as far as budgeting on culvert cleaners and tractors, and as far as budgeting?
I think she still got money from last year she ain't spent yet.
I believe,
So what we're gonna do is we typically solicit budget requests from all the departments, and they'll be due into Kayla. She'll give you a draft, like a printout from September, like to go home with for you to look at and kind of study. And then in October, we'll have an official budget meeting, and we'll go back through what we already sent you. So when you have your questions, and then all of their budget requests, we'll make one at a time to see if we can work them in or not. And so that's kind of how we're planning on handling budget requests. But if you have something you want us to ask
that way we
for.
have plenty of equipment for everybody to run. We don't have to say, well, we don't have this, we gotta borrow that, this, that, we can.
Yeah.
we can get on
We
equipment.
we want the department to determine
Yeah.
what equipment they need.
Right. We have the outstanding
I don't wanna
LGAP
be
grant to
dictated.
buy skid
No,
steer.
I'm just saying
That's
that.
what I was talking about, the LGAP
Yeah,
grant.
we have the LGAP grant. We're just waiting on our release of fund date. Like, the CEAs have been signed.
That's what we
It's been
should-
approved. We're
we
just
should take
waiting
mine
on
about equipment.
the official word to purchase it. And when we're prepared to buy it without the grant funds, but we were trying to hold off and use the grant funds for that, to help offset.
When that LGAP money coming to me?
So-
We're getting there.
Who you talking about? When I get my share?
Well, actually, you guys by statute are underpaid. I mean, you really, they
Damn.
passed a,
Ain't touching that one.
I
I
can
ain't
give you the
touching that.
statute, yeah. Y'all are really not up to your maximum amount. They gave you a raise about 10 years ago, and the jury.
Make
never
that
voted for it.
recommendation
Oh, we didn't
known
take it.
for the
We never
agenda.
take it.
We'll save that for Joe.
Yeah.
Make
They
that
never did take it.
make your recommendations noted at, time of budget.
Okay.
I'm talking about, is it LGAP money?
Yeah, what we used to get, kinda, everybody got a little bit, we, remember?
They're like the
I
fire
gave you that
station
guy
Creo, didn't we use that
for
LGAP money to
Well, it
add on
was
that bond?
LGAP, and we had community water enrichment funds, and so we did try to, y'all used to just split it
Mhm.
amongst yourselves, but it was never enough to really make a difference, so then we started trying to rotate it to each community.
Yeah,
And so we did that for a little while, but then the last 2 years, we've been using it for road and bridge to purchase equipment. We haven't been giving it.
Yeah, that's
because-
fine.
Yeah.
If there's ever some, the reason I'm saying this, guys, if there's ever a little bit of money, I like the blacktop that you park it, the parking lot there at the new boat launch.
Oh, okay.
If ever, it's, and I don't know, it might be better to do it once we're doing a road project or something, but it's a shell parking lot. It's
On the island out there? Is that what you're talking about? Is that where your boat launch is?
our new boat launch, yeah, right there on
Behind
the boat.
Behind Abear's Trailer Park.
It's behind Acres Trailer Park,
By A-Bears?
behind Acres
Next
Trailer
door.
Oh,
Park.
okay, hell, I ain't never seen it. I've seen you.
Yeah, go down the Trailer Park Road there and ride in the back, we got a brand new boat launch.
nice.
We put rocks out there, but
They got a sign, Lee's Boat Launch.
it ain't got my name on it.
I had to go look at that, I hadn't seen it.
It's really nice, yeah.
But at one day, I'd like to get that just overlaid with limestone, with a blacktop. So,
That would be a eligible activity for an LGAP grant.
just saying, I don't know where it's at or who's getting it or whatever, but
Well, it used
And
to
that-
go
and that's-
from drawer to drawer, didn't it?
3 of us would get it one year, and another 3 would get it the next year. That's how we did it.
Yeah,
Because
it
I know-
rotates.
I know I'd used it one time to do that water project in Hackberry.
Yeah, it was about $70,000 worth of water meters, fire meters. That was one of them.
No, that was that line that they put to make that loop
Channel,
from Channelview to,
Yeah. we did that one too. We've rotated around a lot, and then the LGAP
some
one
point-
is the one that we used to split with all the jury, but then it got to a point to where no one knew what to do with the money. And they were just kinda like, well, maybe we could, like, there wasn't anything that anyone needed specifically, they were just having to find stuff to spend it for. And so at that point, I think we had a road that we wanted to pave, so we said, well, instead of asking, let's just pave the road, and then we purchased some equipment, and so that's what we've done the last few years. But we could, the next round, we can certainly, send it to you guys if you have something in your particular area that you feel like you need. But it's only usually about $70,000 or $80,000 a year. So it's really not a lot.
A lot to divvy up.
It used to be
At some point-
150, 160, and now they've trickled it down to like 70.
Wow.
Did they ever fix that blacktop around the courthouse? That never got done either.
We kinda just waiting for that construction to get through, I'm
What other construction they
Yeah,
got?
I got an idea.
sure.
Huh?
On the courthouse, they're about through with that.
Yeah, I know that wasn't added into that project.
No, it wasn't. That would be a separate project.
It should have been added. It should have been there, but it never got
But it
put there.
wasn't.
They just, the parking spots got put in, not the road.
I mean, there's some ideas. We were waiting on the courthouse to finish construction. And now we're looking at maybe, we have Randy Thomas working on it, get a cost estimate of what it would cost to run all the power lines in the square underground and get rid of all these power lines that would help keep everything powered up. So he's working on an estimate for that. And then also the old, Miss Jenny Jones's office, they're looking at possibly elevating it and fixing it. They applied for a hazard mitigation grant to get it elevated. If for some reason they don't qualify or they decide not to do anything with that, then we were in talks with them to maybe lease in the property from them and take it over and demolish it and add parking there for the courthouse staff. Maybe some covered parking and maybe dedicate that parking lot to our first district attorney, Mr. J.B. Jones. And so that's something we're also talking about with Ms. Jones. See if she would be open to that. We're gonna do something with that area all at the same time.
I don't know if this is the right meeting to talk about it, but like in front of the annexes here on this side, with all the,
Tall grass.
yeah, all the tall grass on the Henry property, if there's a way that we could, I don't know what, if that's Mr. Newton them or Scott them or who, Scott and them, if we could
You want
talk
us
with,
to look at maybe trying to lease it or purchase it?
they probably won't sell it, but probably lease it so that way we could keep it up, make it look nice out there. Put some picnic tables or something maybe, or,
That's what.
but keep it up.
Yeah.
We own a
Try
strip
again.
up here.
Yeah, they used to
I
keep
think
it.
ours gets cut. Our strip, don't we at the?
Ours does, yes, but there is a part right next to it that belongs to, who
That was a
owns
Ken
that?
Badon still?
Yes.
Then about on.
And even
That
that
part
Hills,
that's
Mr. Ken
under-
Badon
Yeah,
still?
Bill's Ken Badon.
Yeah,
Can we just cut that? Not, I mean, just,
He wants to sell it. I heard he wants
does
to
he?
sell
The hill or the little piece
it.
next
You
to
know, I
ours?
heard through the grapevine.
If he could just sell the little piece next to ours, then we could tear everything up and make a whole new entranceway right there as well.
That's what we had tried to do.
Maybe
before
maybe I'll
the
make
courthouse.
Just
contact with him or something.
tell him we'll give him a couple $1,000, but we'll never put nothing there. Just, it'll just be there,
Blacktop money.
couple $1,000.
Well, you could donate it for a tax write-off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah. We'll reach out to him.
You don't ask.
That it? Anybody else got anything else?
No.
They're all good? Everybody's good with it?
All the new employees are hired?
No, I got one for Red Lake. We just finished advertising this stuff.
You done that? Y'all, so you done advertising? So,
Yes, there's no stuff.
You hired?
Not yet.
Oh.
I wouldn't hear all that.
Two of the sewer ponds.
Just ask.
No, not yet.
Renew leases with
All right.
y'all good? All right. Meeting adjourned. We'll be back at